New Jersey Generals and the Philadelphia Stars, a rematch in the Atlantic Division. We're at the Vet in Philadelphia for this regular season finale between the 13-4 Generals and the 16-1 Stars. And today's game is brought to you by light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer and less. By Chevrolet, with the performance, the style, the innovation, the quality, and the value that make up today's Chevrolet. By Electric Shave, for a close, fast, comfortable shave. Electric Shave does for an electric razor what lather does for a blade. And by Sharp Electronic Corporation. From sharp minds come sharp products. Well, it's a day of threatening rain here in the city of Philadelphia this afternoon, but hopefully the rain clouds will hold off until we have played this ball game that has a lot of interesting facets about it. But before we get to the ball game, let's take a quick look at the playoff circumstances. And as you look at the Eastern Conference, the 4 teams are set for the conference playoffs, but their location has not exactly been nailed down. If New Jersey should win here in Philadelphia today and Tampa Bay lose in Birmingham, then Tampa Bay would come to Philadelphia next Saturday afternoon. New Jersey would go to Birmingham next Sunday. If Philadelphia and Birmingham win today, then it's going to be a rematch next Saturday and Sunday of the pairings in this final week of the season. Looking out in the Western Conference, the circumstance, you have the 4 teams now selected. If the Michigan Panthers can beat Chicago today, they will be playing in Los Angeles, and Arizona will be playing at Houston. And if there is anybody unhappy in the game of football today, one would think it would have to be the playing personnel and perhaps the coaching staff and ownership of the Denver Gold. Last Friday night, the Denver Gold closed with a very strong performance against the resurgent Oakland Invaders, posting a victory over the Invaders. Harry Sidney's 42-yard run giving the Gold their 7-0 lead early in the ball game. In the final play of the first half, Brian Spielman kicked a 57-yard field goal to make it 10-0 at halftime, Denver. Quarterback Craig Penrose, in relief of starter Ken Hobart, lofted a 31-yard touchdown pass to Kevin Williams. 17-0 Denver, third quarter. Spielman added a field goal. Denver running back Vincent White fumbled. Oakland recovered on the end zone for a touchdown. The final score was Denver 20 and Oakland 7. Now, the win gave Denver a 9-9 record and playoff hopes that hung on the outcome of last night's Arizona-Los Angeles game. But Los Angeles quarterback Steve Young did not play. Arizona jumped to a 7-0 lead on the Greg Landry to Tim Spencer pass of 37 yards and a touchdown. Zendejas hit a 31-yard field goal, make it 7-3 Arizona at halftime. And Landry, having a big ball game, hits Tremaine Johnson 15 yards for a touchdown, 14-3 Wranglers. Also third quarter, same combination, 10-yard TD, 21-3 Arizona. In the fourth quarter, Tim Spencer broke loose for this 35-yard run off the sweep. And it sets up a 1-yard touchdown plunge by Kevin Long. At this juncture, it was pretty obvious that Arizona was going to win the football game. Frank Sire, who worked at quarterback for the Express, finally got Los Angeles a touchdown in the final period to make it a 28-10 ball game. Dwayne Gunn makes the catch here down the middle in front of the goalpost. And then late in the ball game, Carl Allen intercepted Sire, returned the interception 35 yards for a touchdown. Arizona 35 and Los Angeles 10. Arizona in the playoffs, Denver out. Well, obviously, the Denver people were irritated somewhat by the absence of Steve Young in the Los Angeles lineup, because they argue that there is an obligation to play your best people. Well, as of last Wednesday, and this was underscored considerably by the Express general manager Don Klosterman, as of last Wednesday, Steve Young, the LA Express quarterback, was listed as questionable for the Arizona ball game because of bruised ribs and a very sore knee. He really couldn't throw the ball effectively, and he couldn't run very well. Now, Carl Peterson, the Philadelphia Stars general manager, is the chairman of the competition committee for the United States Football League. And earlier today, I talked with Carl about the fact that LA did not play its #1 quarterback.
Well, I'd be very, very upset about it, obviously. I fully agree with you. I think it's the obligation of a professional football team to put the best people on the field that they can, especially if the outcome of that game has some type of results that would allow a Denver to be in the playoffs. If I were the owner, general manager, president of the Denver Gold, I'd be very upset today with what transpired last night in Phoenix, Arizona.
Do you think it'll become a subject within the league over the next few days and or weeks?
Well, I think it's certainly going to be something that's discussed. I'm the chairman of the competition committee, and we're always concerned about competitive edges and trying to be as fair as we can regarding the competition throughout the league. It's a concern, and I think that's something that should have been discussed before last night, and that something should have been resolved then. But there's not much we can do about it now, and the Denver Gold, of course, are going to have to wait till 1985 for the playoffs.
Lest it become a roaring tempest and charges be made and so forth and come up before the competition committee, again to underscore that Young was listed as questionable as early as last Wednesday. And again, Don Klosterman said it was simply a matter of the Express letting down, having already clinched the Pacific Division, and the Arizona Wranglers being in a position of having to win in order to get into the playoffs. We'll take a look at today's matchup here at the Vet in Philly between the Stars and the Generals in just a moment. Commentator for our USFL telecasts, the swift one from the Pittsburgh Steelers in his younger days. Swanee, you've been in this position now where you're already in the playoffs, yet you got one more ball game to play. What is the incentive?
Well, the incentive are many, Keith. All the emotional factors, the pride, the psychological aspect of the game, trying to go into the playoffs with a real positive attitude and on a winning note. Now, you take the New Jersey Generals. They like to maintain that edge of having been the only team to have beaten the Philadelphia Stars and create, if possible, some kind of jinx to make them leery of playing. When you talk about pride, the leader of their defense, Jim LeClaire, big veteran from the Cincinnati Bengals, he's a man that keys that pride and that leadership on the defensive team. Now, when they met in the third game of the season, it was number 55, Jim LeClaire, that is going to recover a Kelvin Bryant fumble. This was a big key, the biggest key of the ball game, because it led to a Roger Ruzek field goal that gave them the lead, 17-14, and the difference in the ball game. Late in the fourth period, Chuck Fusina, driving his offensive team down the field, finds Willie Collier open, but he never hangs onto the ball, and Jim LeClaire picks it off. Jim LeClaire was asked by our Don Towson how important turnovers are in a big ball game like this.
Well, yeah, it's a key against any team. You know, and as good as Philadelphia is, naturally you'd like to get turnovers in the game. I think they're big momentum swings, and if a turnover causes a momentum swing, it's all for your advantage. You know, so it's a big part of it, and I think that, you know, in most cases games are decided by turnovers. In the first game, you got in some shoving matches and some verbal stuff. Is it important in your role to be a little bit verbal, to fire up the guys around you, do you think? Well, that's a good question. I don't know that it's that important. I think that the players are fired up in themselves, and it's not really up to me to get them going. But the game just dictated that at that point. You know, I'm not saying that that's my nature, but it just that's the way it went, and that's the way it worked out. But no, I don't think it's my role any more than it is anybody else's role to get the guys fired up. They're responsible for themselves.
Swanee, I would think the Philadelphia Stars would certainly like to win this ball game. They would get some degree of revenge from it. They would win 15 in a row. They would set a new standard of excellence with a record of 17-1.
And all those things are very important to them, Keith. But the most important of all, however, is to get one of those wins back from New Jersey. They don't want to go into the playoffs saying, well, the only two losses we have on their record are to the same football team, a team that they could very well see in the playoffs. And the man in charge of that attitude is Jim Morrow. And he says his ball club is ready to play. We asked him again, how important is it for his team to win this ball game, and are they ready?
Well, from a standpoint of effort and intensity and how hard we're trying to win, I mean, there's no holding back. We want to win this game in the worst way. As a question of what we're going to show, what we're not going to show from an offense-defensive standpoint, we might hold back just a little bit because of the circumstances.
Your star running back, Kelvin Bryant, will not start, and he was fined for being late to some team meetings.
Well, Kelvin, you know, the last 2 or 3 weeks it had been tardy a few times, and it's really not a big thing, but we did penalize him a little bit, and we're not going to start him today, but he will play probably.
Jim Morrow talking with our colleague Don Tollefson. The way these two teams have come out of the tunnel looks to me like they're both jacked up. It might be fun at the Vet in Philly this afternoon. We'll get it going in a moment. Big division standings look like this in its final weekend. You can see that Philadelphia and New Jersey were utterly dominant over Pittsburgh and Washington insofar as the regular season was concerned. The Southern Division, however, was a little bit tighter and more tense. And there's a big ball game being played at Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama this afternoon between the Tampa Bay Bandits and the Birmingham Stallions. And though that game plus this one will have something to do, as we noted, about what happens next week. Right now, let's join Verl Sorgen, the referee, and the flip of the coin.
Who will call a coin toss? What is your call? He calls tails. Tails is the call. The coin is head.
Philadelphia has won the toss, and they will take the football. In 1983, Philadelphia won 9 of 18 tosses of the coin. 1984, they were 500. They won 9 of the 18. So the Stars and Kelvin Bryant, as noted by Coach Jim Mora, will not start. He was late for a team meeting. They dinged his pocketbook and plunked him on the bench for the opening series. The Southern Division that we mentioned, you see Birmingham and Tampa Bay well out in front. New Orleans started big, faded. Memphis was the pesky one in that southern area because they jumped on Tampa Bay and handed them a loss that, depending on what happens today, would haunt them still. But Birmingham was able to pull away and turn back the bid by Memphis to beat them before a sellout crowd at the Liberty Bowl a week ago. There's Kelvin Bryant. As you can see, will not put on the hard hat, at least for the first series of plays. Philadelphia will be going this afternoon without their veteran tight end, Steve Folsom. He has a hamstring and won't play today. As a matter of fact, he's a pretty shaky prospect for next week because he has quite a severe hamstring. The man who will return the kick for Philadelphia, there are 2 of them, but the man in particular they want to have the ball is right there, number 20, Mark McCants. He's a 195-pounder out of Temple. Mark McCants is one of the specialists on the hot position on kickoff coverage as well. He's almost always in the fray in pursuit of the ball. Roger Huzek to kick off for the white-shirted New Jersey Generals. A threat of rain on the horizon, but so far we have had none. It's quite cool at the Vet in Philadelphia, and here we go with the final regular season game of 1984. The kick carries well into the end zone where McCants, 2 yards deep, will come out with it. And he gets across the 15 to about the 16 where he is cut down. Billy Caesar among those there to get a hold of him. And Chuck Fusina, number 14, comes out at quarterback. The 26-year-old out of Penn State. 3 years at Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers, and now 2nd year with the Stars. Lining up behind him will be Brian Thomas, a rookie out of Pittsburgh, a 180-pounder who played a lot last week, had a very good ball game. David Riley out of West Virginia will be the fullback. Scott Fitzke, Willie Collier are the wide receivers, and Ken Dunnick will open at the tight end position. Also up front, it's Oates, Gilbert, Comiskey, Eatman, Dunnick, and Oates. They send Tom Donovan out with Herbert Harris for the first offensive snap, giving them 4 wide receivers. And Fusina's going to throw on first down. Pass is good to Herbert Harris, a rookie out of Lamar, and he picks up about 8 yards before they can bring him down. And Jim Mora indicated, Lynn Swan, that he might hold back a little bit today, but it didn't appear so on that one, did it?
Well, that's just a tactical move on his part as we take a look at the defensive line for the New Jersey Generals. Lockett, Woodland, and Jim Byrne line up. Linebackers, Harper, LeClaire, Leopold and Joyce, the veterans, and Justin Williams, Johnson, Barbaro in the secondary. They're going to have the work cut out for them because there's a multi-formation, varied offense they're going against.
On 2nd down and a short 3, Fusina is almost caught behind the line of scrimmage, and he is going to be sacked back on the 20-yard line. So finally run down by Tom Woodland, 2nd-year man out of Missouri, with some help from Bob Leopold, the veteran out of Notre Dame. Nobody available to him in the secondary that time.
Well, he had a little zone route. He had a pattern call, and they were playing a very good zone defense. It looked like it was a zone route, but the short man, number 86, Willie Collier, who was looking for him very quickly, he had a linebacker standing right behind him, so he had no one to throw the ball to.
And it is third down and about 4.5. With Thomas now checking into the ball game with Riley, and Donovan stays in along with Collier. Good protection. Pass is complete, and it's just good enough to Willie Collier for a first down. Willie at 5'10", 175, and I would imagine Willie would like to have his number called a lot today, because it was Willie in the closing moments of the loss at New Jersey. Willie had the ball in the open, capable of putting it in field goal position where they could have gone for a tie with seconds remaining, and he just flat dropped the ball.
I talked to him after that game too, Keith, and he was down, very disappointed with himself, and he knew that he should have hung on to that football, and he's a better receiver. It's one of those things that happen, and he knew a little bit of time would pass by, and he'd get over it.
That was a cold, snowy day.
Yes, it was.
On the first down play, they handed off inside to Brian Thomas, and Thomas is hit rather quickly by strong safety Gregory Johnson, who had come up to support on the inside.
I have to point out that the #1 defensive team in the Eastern Conference, the Philadelphia Stars, but they're going against the #2 defensive team here against New Jersey.
And they play different kinds of defensive philosophies. New Jersey will not blitz very much. They make you travel the long road.
I hope that you make a mistake and capitalize on it, which is the same thing that Philadelphia hopes, but they'll give you more blitzes, more things to think about on defense.
Second down and about 11 as Chuck Bucina drops to throw. Looks down the middle, goes to the right side to the 40. Good for a first down. Coming up in a hurry was number 23, Terry Justin, to bring down Scott Fitzke. But he is across the 40, and he's got another Philadelphia first down. So they start back on the 16, and they've now moved out across the 40.
Now, Kelvin Bryant leads his team at 1,277 yards rushing coming into the game, but a lot of his rushing success comes because they have a very outstanding passing game this year. Scott Fitzke and Folsom, the injured tight end, gave them so much control. Third down plays, the short yardage passing plays. Little short passes to the backs out of the backfield. Then the offensive line can just bear down, give the ball to Kelvin straight ahead. And Brian Thomas is a very good running back, too.
David Riley, the fullback, the big man. 215-pounder out of West Virginia, comes rolling up the middle, and he's got a big gain on first down before John Joyce out of Colgate makes the tackle. He's the right inside linebacker for New Jersey, and he has moved in ahead of Bob Horn in starting at that position. A young player, 230 pounds, who has improved tremendously over the second half of this season. A gain of 8 yards by David Riley. It'll be second down and 2 with the football setting just over the 48. Second and short, Bucina gets it away. The pass is caught by Scott Fitzke, and Bucina is dumped hard as he released the ball by a blitzing Gregory Johnson. But Johnson, the strong safety, was coming that time, and you just have not seen it very many times from New Jersey.
Well, we saw something from New Jersey we hadn't seen for quite a while a couple of weeks ago in New Jersey. We saw that offensive team open up and play a little bit more versatile offense and spread things out. They had a great deal of success doing it. Now we seem to see a little bit more aggressiveness by their defensive team, and they're going to need it.
It's playoff time. You've seen now 4 for 4, 40 yards. Ball is inside the New Jersey 40. First possession of the ball game. Philadelphia moving it. Bucina goes on a hook. That is thrown wide of Willie Collier. He had him. He was right open.
Well, Willie Collier was standing in between number 53, Bob Leopold, number 47, John Joyce, and he wasn't really coming back to the football. A little safety kind of route where he's just sitting there, the quarterback gets his read, then decides on who to go to. Had he been coming back a little bit to that ball, he would have had a chance to make the play.
So it'll be second down and 10 here in the opening moments of our football game. That's Riley with it. He has to cut it back inside. He started outside, and then it was sealed away by Leopold, and Woodland gang up on him and bring him down. So they'll be looking at third down and about 6. Kelvin Bryant benched for the opening series at least.
That's a new haircut for Kelvin. It's matched by one under the helmet of David Riley. Kelvin said in North Carolina he used to get hot in the summer. He just shaved it all off so he could stay cool. Got used to doing it, got ready for the playoffs, decided to do the same thing, and David Riley said, well, I'll keep you company.
You got 4 wide receivers in there now. 3rd down and 6 for Philadelphia. You've seen it ducks away from the pressure, but he won't get the first down. Recovering and coming up to make the stop is Leopold, 53. And Chuck Fusina will be now going to the sidelines for some advice on what to do, whether or not Dave Trout comes or whether or not Sean Landeta comes. And it'll be Dave Trout on 4th down and about 4.
Lockett did a great job coming in from his outside in position to really put a lot of pressure on Fusina, collapse the pocket around him and force him to run.
It'll be a 50-yard field goal try by Dave Trout. He'll hit it at the New Jersey 40, his longest of the season, 49 yards. He's 0 for 3 from 50 and beyond. Reardon gets it down. Trout gets his foot on it. And it's just missed. Just missed. I thought for a moment he had it. But there's a little bit of wind that's gusting around inside the stadium, and it may have knocked it down. So he is short by about a yard from 50. New Jersey holds Philadelphia. Walker and Maurice Carthen. The setbacks, Clarence Collins, Danny Knight. The wide receivers up front. They go with Mackey, Lapham, Hull, Harris, Millard, and Sam Mowers. Sam having regained the starting role at tight end for the Generals. And here's their first snap, and as a result of Trout missing the field goal, they get the football. Pretty good field position at their own 33. And it's Herschel Walker cutting it over the right side on the first play. Comes out for the 41, hit hard. Ball seemed to pop loose. But they're going to call him down, and he took a whack.
Well, Sutton brought him down, but Lush just took him about shoulder high with his shoulder, met him, and really bent him backwards onto the turf.
Lush, good size, 195 pounds. They go with Moore, Kugler, and Fielder, the 3 down linemen. The linebackers are Bunning, Howard, Mills, and Cooper. The secondary for Philadelphia, Sutton, Lane, Gibson, and Lush, and they're good ones. 2nd down and 2 as Herschel picked up 8 yards on that carry with Collins going in motion. Give it back to Walker, who runs it up the middle, picks his way close to midfield. And he's got a first down for the New Jersey Generals as the offensive line that time opened the door for him. Lapham, Hall, and Harris, the big guys right in the middle.
The key to the success of the New Jersey running game is to get big yards on first down. It gives them the option on 2nd and 3rd down how to call their plays. They can keep the ball on the ground if they gain 4 or 5 yards or more on first down, creating the 3rd and short situations on the ground, running out the clock, controlling the football game.
Generals on their own 49, first down. And it's Walker sweeping left. And again, he's got good yardage. He's got 6 as he goes from the 49 down to about the Philadelphia 45, where George Cooper brings him down.
Oh, that's what you have to stop. That's the #1 weapon of this offensive team. You take a look at Antonio Gibson. Now, he's a strong safety. He is a safety. Lush is behind him. They're going to be responsible for lots of tackles downfield. This defense moves to the ball very well. You see there are 4 people on the ball. Lush in the secondary, following it, reading the play, then reacting to the run, coming up to make the stick.
Tony had started to go with Clarence Collins, the motion man, and then went back to get into the play. It's 2nd down and 5. This is Carthen. And he's at the 44. Pete Kugler, number 67. Bottom of the stack. And every time you see Pete these days, he says, "Speak softly, will you? My body is aching."
Well, coming in from San Francisco, having played the full season in the playoffs. Now another whole season, as you take a look at Chicago Blitz with a 3-point lead over the Panthers.
Well, now Michigan, if they should win this afternoon, will go to Los Angeles to play the Express in the first round of the playoffs. If they get beat, they're going to have to go down and face that bunch of rabbits in Houston. That'll be a tough chore. Sipe to throw it to the sideline. Incomplete. Almost picked off. Intended for Danny Knight. And he was almost picked off by Garcia Lane, number 47.
Garcia Lane is the cornerback they brought in to free Antonio Gibson, who was the starting quarterback for all of 1983, to go into the strong safety position. He's been picked on quite a few times throughout the year, people figuring he doesn't have that much experience, but he's met the challenge and played very well for the ball club.
Lane is also the punt returner for Philadelphia. He's averaging just under 9 yards per return.
He's in the hot seat. With all the quarterback power in this new league and teams wanting to put the ball in the air, if you're playing out in defensive corner, you better be tough.
Bob Grupp hits it at the 46, pops it straight up, shanks it right. But it takes a New Jersey bounce, and he gets away with it. He wound up with a pretty decent kick down near the 11-yard line. With the roll, it's a 34-yard punt. It actually traveled in the air only about 20 yards. So neither team able to do anything with their about 35,000. The threatening weather, I think, may have created some no-shows. In Philadelphia's first possession, they threw 7 times, ran 3 times. And they start just outside the 10. David Riley and Brian Thomas are the setbacks. And it is Riley up the middle. David Riley to the 22 and a first down. Bob Leopold and Gary Barbaro brought him down.
Well, that's the offensive line blocking and the coaching, looking for this kind of defense. Just a quick play right up the middle. You saw the charge of the offensive line. You opened up a hole. Dave Riley just ran straight through it. No problems. First down outside the 20.
Big David's got 24 yards on 3 carries.
Big David's having a really good year. It's the best he's ever had in professional football.
Collier top of the picture. Fitzke bottom of the picture. Double wide. Stay with the ground game. Go to Thomas. Not much. Now it's Riley, 35. Woodland, 71, stacked it up as much as anybody.
So far, in these first drives, first 2 possessions of each ball club, the defense has exerted itself, showing its dominance against the other team, its ability to stop them in passing, running situations.
Second down and 8. Brian Thomas trying to slash it over the right side. Number 47, John Joyce, stood him up. James Lockett locked his legs. Thomas last week had a big ball game. He scored twice, carried the ball 14 times, picked up 66 yards. Jim Mora took his time about bringing Brian along into the offensive circumstance, but he did it rather gently. As a matter of fact, Thomas made his first appearance in a ball game that we did against the Birmingham Stallions.
And boy, I thought in the second half of the ball game he was going to try and beat them by himself.
Good player. Quick darting kind of a runner. Slasher. On 3rd and 5, Fusina runs out of time, throws it. Riley caught it and got a first down.
You said it last year. James Lockett put the pressure on Chuck Fusina. But what you said last year about Chuck Fusina is exemplified right here. He may not be the greatest player in the world, but all he does for you is win football games. Here he scrambles, feels pressure as he goes down, gets enough on the ball, has his head up, finds David Riley, who makes a very good catch, ball into the turf for the first down.
At the 34-yard line. So they're off the hook again, having started at their 11. Alan Harmon is now in the backfield. Riley out. Penalty flag in the air as Harmon goes over the right side for a yard.
We'll note that that's a change for Alan Harmon, who had been playing tailback, backing up Kelvin Bryant. Now he's playing behind David Riley at fullback.
Mistake by the Generals. They were offside. Earl Sorgan is the referee. The rest of the officials are Ed Manning, the umpire, Bob Walker, head linesman, Ted Colano, line judge, Bill Richardson, the back judge, Joe Richwine, the side judge, and Michael Mathis is the field judge. They come from all over the country.
You know, in the penalty area, New Jersey has not been penalized quite as much as Philadelphia. They've been penalized 83 times for 687 yards, and Philadelphia has been penalized.
Offside. Offense. Still first down.
112 times for 934 yards.
Well, why the hell did he do it out there? Right, I want to reduce it. That's bullshit.
Uh-oh. Yes.
Holder's hot.
That's as much emotion as I've seen all year from him on the sideline.
It'll be first down, and the penalty went against Philadelphia. Instead of New Jersey, they throw the pass to Ken Dunnick, And Gunnick is thrown down at the 40.
What they're doing, Keith, they've been running this kind of pass play all year long. They'll send the receivers downfield about 15 yards, get the linebackers back to cover. Then they'll send Dunnick. He gets an inside release from the linebacker here, comes underneath the linebackers. The quarterback reads. If he's open, you throw him the football. It's a short pass, and he can turn it upfield. By doing that, he picks up another 8 yards.
He's big as a house. He's 6'6", 245 pounds. So he's quite a big target. This is David Riley, and Riley runs it up the middle and across midfield, and another penalty flag is down as Philadelphia has a first down if the flag is not against them. But it's against Philadelphia. They are caught holding, and they'll lose the first down, and they'll go back the other way.
Well, obviously, they're playing a tendency. They found a weakness. That's Brian Sipe, quarterback for the Generals, on the sideline. In that defense in terms of alignment or how they're playing, Keith.
Holding, number 50, offense, still second down.
Now I'm going to take a look at number 55, LeClaire, and 47, Joyce. So the inside linebackers, either they're lining up wide by formation, which allows the middle to be very open for the quick back, the fullback coming through, or on the snap of the ball in certain formations, they're just taking off and vacating that area.
Here's a new face into the ball game who was there previously, suffered quite a severe injury, but he is now back, and I think could be a very important factor for the New Jersey Generals in the pass rush. Freddie Gilbert is on the field. They throw a screen pass out to Riley. Riley's going to turn it into something, but there is a penalty flag thrown at about the 31-yard line. And it may very well be another call against the Philadelphia Stars.
I think it's going to go against number 63, George Gilbert, for holding.
Ineligible man downfield. Somebody had gone too far. Getting a little sprinkling of rain now. So Philadelphia is mistaking itself right back into a hole.
Yes, they are.
No score first quarter, and the first quarter's about over. We had 1:45 to play.
Ineligible receiver, illegally downfield, number 50, offense, loss of down, third down.
It's a tough day for Bart. He's had 2 flags in a row.
Yeah, that was a poorly set up screen in the sense that you see Chuck Feeney's not really getting a hard pass rush. Everybody's over there on the screen. One of the offensive linemen was almost in the way of David Riley, but number 50 had just gotten beyond the line of scrimmage and was caught by the official.
So it's third down and about 25. Pass is incomplete. Mike Williams coming over to slap it away from Tom Donovan on the sidelines. He would have had his first down if he had been able to catch it. And so now Sean Landetta will have to come in, and they need a big one from him in the closing minute of the first quarter of play. Birmingham out to a 7-0 lead over Tampa Bay, with Joe Cribbs running it in from 14 yards. And Philadelphia now is going to take a timeout. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 people. No, they had 11 out there, but the timeout is charged to the Philadelphia Stars with 1:40 to play. One team that matches up well enough to control Philadelphia. They beat him 17-14. Philadelphia's own mistakes did him in the ball game at New Jersey. Landetta's kick does not turn over. It sort of hangs up there. Timmy White, the return man, has no chance to get to it. Ball bounces back across midfield, and suddenly, here is New Jersey sitting on the Philadelphia 46-yard line after a 26-yard punt. They own the football. They have a first down. We've got a timeout at 1.5 minutes to go in the first quarter.
Tough Chevy trucks.
So what Walt Michaels loves to see is a defensive standoff, and suddenly a couple of mistakes by the other team in penalties, then a short punt by the kicker, and there they are.
Well, they've had field position so far in their first 2 possessions, and coming into the ball game, if we have to look at special teams and field position, I would have given the edge to Philadelphia because they have been fantastic on their special teams all year long.
Brian Sipe on first down, rolls it left, has all day, throws to Carthen, and Carthen is down to the 35-34, and he's got a first down. Picked up 12 yards, George Cooper. The linebacker on that side came over to shove him out of bounds.
Well, two things that you saw Brian Sipe do that are away from their tendencies. Number one, throwing on first downs and not having it be a play action pass on first down. Or excuse me, that was a play action pass on first down. And then rolling out. He had knee operation, arthroscopic surgery earlier in the year. Usually has 2 knee braces on, so he doesn't like to run that much.
They put Walker out here wide now. He goes outside of Collins to the sidelines. And Sipe hands inside. And Carthen is brought down at the 32. Let's check in now with Don Tollefson as he talks with Chuck Fusina.
Chuck, second straight game against New Jersey. You guys have gotten off to a slow offensive start. Did they do something that troubles you on defense?
I really don't think so, Don. So far, we've been hurting ourselves with the penalties. I think we're moving the ball pretty well. Just got to be a little more consistent. I think we'll move the ball well in the second quarter and the rest of the game.
How much does the absence of Kelvin Bryant hurt you at this point?
Well, we're losing Kelvin. It hurts. Kelvin's, we think, the best player in the league. So we're just going to have to play with what we have and do our best.
Okay, Keith.
Thank you, Don. It is second down, call it 7 from near the 32. And you can see number 33, Maurice Carthen. He's on the field with Herschel Walker. Now, Walker weighs 225, but for some reason, I don't know, maybe it's because of all of the press agentry, or maybe I've been brainwashed. I don't know what it is, but Walker looks like the bigger man when in fact he is not. Carthen is bigger than Walker by 5 pounds.
I don't know how much weight training Carthen has done. We know Herschel has spent a great deal of time in the weight room training, and just his definition might give him the advantage in the appearance.
Herschel up the middle on 3rd down and 1. And would seemingly have the first down. Defends on the mark. The gun is cracked. The first quarter is over. But let's see about the spot. They may mark him a little short. They placed it down, and they may have to bring in the change to determine exactly what it is. And they will. So I imagine we might as well go ahead and take care of our business while they're bringing the chains on the field. We have no score in the first quarter of play. New Jersey, however, is now in a threat stat of the first quarter is not reflected there. It's a 3 penalties for 25 yards against Philadelphia.
And that is the most important. They possessed the ball the longest amount of time in their second possession. They were moving the ball quite well down the field, as Chuck Fusina told Don Tollefson in the sideline interview. They're not having any problems moving the football, just in the field position, making their own mistakes, putting themselves in a hole.
New Jersey was just short of the first down. It's 4th down and about a foot. And Carthen will have the first down. So on the first play of the second quarter in a scoreless football game at the Vet in Philadelphia, Walt Michaels' team gets the ball, 4 more snaps. It's sitting near the Philadelphia 23. Kind of a muggy day, but the temperature's in the low 70s, so it's not particularly difficult weather-wise, though a sprinkling of rain now and then. Sipe on first down. Pumps once, goes to the corner from Knight, and he can't get there. Don Tollefson now with Kelvin Bryant.
Kelvin, Coach Morris said he was going to sit you out indefinitely. Any idea when you might get in there?
Well, I have no idea right now. I'm just trying to stay over here and stay loose.
Scoreless ball game. It's got to be difficult for a player to sit and watch when he wants to be playing.
Yeah, it is, but, you know, I can take it.
Did Coach Moore get his message through, though, about being late to meetings?
Yeah, he did. You know, he just had to do what he had to do. You know, I'm ready, you know, whenever he want me to go in.
So from now on, it's on time, Kelvin Bryant.
Well, yeah, I hope I can stay on time.
All right, Kelvin Bryant down on the sidelines. Will be back in the game at some point, Keith.
Well, his coach hopes he stays on time, too. Because he likes to keep him in the ball game.
He's a terrific kid. He really is. He's not a kid. He's a fine young man. Bryant Forsythe throws a little behind Danny Knight. Danny reaching back, tried to pull it in, but couldn't do it. And suddenly now it is 3rd down and 10. And the ball sits just short of the Philadelphia 23.
It would have been a great catch had he been able to pull it in. I just noticed when he walked out up, when he got up off the ground, Keith, it seemed to be dragging his right leg a little bit. Just a slight favoring of that leg.
New Orleans out over Washington 7-0. Breakers trying to close the season with a win. They started big, but they've had a lot of grief lately. 3rd and 10. A double wide bottom of the picture. Sight checking off, taking a long time on the count. Pressure's on. It's William Fuller, the sack. And that may have taken him out of field goal range.
Well, this is the position on the field where the Philadelphia defense really lays its ears back. They came up to the line. They gave you a blitz look. They dropped everybody else back. They sent 4 linemen down the field. Results, a big sack, takes them out of the sure field goal range. They're bringing in number 3.
The punter.
The punter, Rupp. Roger Ruzek was on the sideline. He knew he had a chance at least for a field goal from there. The big sack there backs him all the way up to the 35-yard line.
Rupp will try to kill it deep. He hits a knuckleball up, but it's going to carry to the end zone. And so the Philadelphia Stars bow their defensive neck now as the rain gets a little harder. And they'll take over 1st down at their own 20. Still scoreless. We're in the 2nd quarter with 13:53 to play in the 1st half. We had a penalty called in the melee following the punt. And we're waiting for definition of the penalty by Verl Sorgen, the referee.
It was, however, against Philadelphia, which now gives New Jersey Generals the option of punting again. But on the field is number 9, Roger Ruzek, the field goal kicker.
The ball has been marked down at the 37, so it'll be a 47-yard field goal try. Here's your penalty.
During the last kick, Philadelphia had 12 players participating. The play goes over. 4th down.
3 out of 6 now on the season for Ruzek between 40 and 50. This one is from 47, and you can see the folks now starting to wrap up as the rain increases. I just hope we don't get a great big old gully washer before the day's over. We have seen it rain here in Philadelphia in the springtime. Ruzek from 47 yards out of Rupp's hole. Gibson almost blocked it. Got enough leg. It's good. So Ruzek from 47 yards gives the New Jersey Generals the lead. 3-0 at 13:48 to go in the 1st half. And again, it was a Philadelphia mistake, their 4th penalty of the ball game, that gave the Generals the chance by a score of 3-0. And it looks like we're going to have a wet afternoon after all. Philadelphia's never been shut out in the 1st half. They're undefeated this year at home. Their only loss was to New Jersey at Giant Stadium in the Meadowlands.
After this kickoff, Keith, I'll tell you a bad memory I have involving a jinx.
There's a knuckleball floating down and out of bounds. Back him up 5 yards, and Ruzek will have to kick it again.
Let's talk about jinx. I mean, you've heard about them, or we've seen them in certain rivalries. When I was in Pittsburgh, the last 3 years, we seem to have been snake bitten by the Cincinnati Bengals. We go into Cincinnati, a team that we felt we should have beaten, and we would make mistake after mistake after mistake, and we'd never win. They went to the Super Bowl. They came back. We couldn't beat them in regular season ball games. Finally, in my last year of the strike season, we beat them in the 2nd game of the year, and we beat them soundly. But we just kept making mistakes we should not have made, and there was something in our heads that said, God, this game is going to be trouble. Now I'm beginning to wonder, can the New Jersey Generals, they match up well against Philadelphia, and give them that feeling of being jinxed against this ball club?
Well, Michigan is struggling against the blitz, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
And Birmingham is continuing to hold on to its 7-0 lead over Tampa Bay. Remember now, if New Jersey wins, Tampa Bay loses, Tampa Bay has to come to Philadelphia next Saturday. That's a high-hanging kickoff. And it's going to be returned by Victor Harrison. And Harrison accelerates across the 30. So the Stars get pretty good field position after the penalty. And after the return by Harrison. Now, Philadelphia's 4 penalties have been particularly costly to them. 2 of them wiped out a first down, set up a 3rd and 24, and then set up the field goal by New Jersey. So, their own mistakes. From the 31. Busina gets it off, and it is caught by Fitzke on the sidelines, and it'll be good for a first down. It's beyond the marker at the 42.
Philadelphia had far more success on their first drive when they did put the ball in the air on the first series of downs. More success in the second drive, and again when they began throwing the football, trying to keep the defensive team of New Jersey off balance.
Jersey showing blitz.
Preston comes.
Busina's pass is overthrown on the sideline. Fitzke was over there.
Number 25, Preston, John Preston, the strong safety. He came up, lined up at the line of scrimmage. Inside the defensive tackles and looked like he was going to come. That's Gary Barbaro, All-Pro with the Kansas City Chiefs for many years.
He was shaken up, came out of the ballgame for a moment. Billy Caesar's in. Gregory Johnson, Billy Caesar, Kerry Justin, Mike Williams are the secondary people. They've got 4 wide receivers out there now for Philadelphia. And good protection for Busina as he goes down the middle. Pass is caught by Harris. And Herbert Harris fumbles the football, and the New Jersey Generals come away with it. Guess who?
Preston or LeClaire?
LeClaire. He recovered 2 fumbles the first time they met. One set up the winning field goal. The other one killed Philadelphia's comeback hopes. And the pass was good to Harris down inside the 25. He coughed it up, and LeClaire was there.
Harris was doing a very good job of making the moves downfield, picking up extra yards. He gets wide, it's open here in the zone. But now as you're making the moves, watch. No, it was 25.
Knocked it loose.
It was 25, John Preston, who knocked it loose, and then LeClaire came over to recover it. When he's running, he can't see who's coming in from behind. Then John Preston came up, didn't really go for the tackle. He went for the strip, and Jim LeClaire hustled down to pick up the results of his good work. Yes, he does. How prophetic. We show his 2 fumble recoveries. He talks about how a big play can turn the game around, momentum. They stop a big play by Harris.
Oh, Herbert was carrying the ball out there like a sack of lettuce anyway. He didn't have it tucked away at all.
Yeah, but you know, when someone comes up from behind like that, Keith, you can have a pretty good grip on it. If they just come across with that arm the right direction, they have a good shot at knocking it loose.
10-0 Birmingham now in that ball game down south. They go to the I formation with Walker deep. First down, New Jersey, their own 25. And Walker is locked by Antonio Gibson, strong safety, who had looped in inside the defensive end and got into the backfield to make the play.
Looked like he read that play by formation, the tendency of the New Jersey team. Good homework, and he saw the formation, lined up at a strong safety position, and just took off looking for Herschel to get the ball, and he did.
Gain of 2, second down and 8, moving out to about the 26. Just over the 26. Philadelphia caught for encroachment. You got a sack by Sam Mills on Brian Sipe, but I think that'll get wiped out because one of the defensive interior linemen, Don Fielder, started too soon.
mistake.
That's 5.
That's 5 penalties against the Philadelphia Stars. All of them have hurt their progress or their defensive efforts.
Don Tolleson now with Jim LeClaire.
Offside. Defense. Still second.
Well, lucky is probably a better word. I just happened to be following the plate on the field, and I think John Preston hit the ball out, and I just happened to jump on it. Right spot at right time, I guess.
Jim, second straight game against Philly, you've really stopped their offense early on. Do you guys do something that confuses them or troubles them?
Well, I don't think so. It's early in the game yet. We just hope we can stop them the rest of the way.
Jim LeClaire and that defense playing pretty well right now, Keith.
You said it. Second down, 3. Whistle, stop it. Clock run out.
False start.
No, false start.
Number 62, offense.
Dave Lapham.
Move too soon. Both teams kind of staggering around here in the first half. 11:54 to go. It's a ball game that both would like to win, but it's also a ball game where they don't want to spend too much.
I think that's what Jim Mora meant by resting his people or getting some of his people out of the ball game. If they jump out to a big lead or if they're behind by a lot, he'll take his starters out, rest them up for next week.
Sipe gives to Carthen. Carthen is caught by Sam Mills and thrown down. Stocky Sam, 5'9", 225.
Sam Mills was the man who came in on that blitz and sacked Brian Sipe that was nullified by the penalty against Philadelphia. Maurice Carthen, after he was stopped by the Philadelphia Stars, just bounced right back up, jogged downfield for a little bit, back to the huddle, and now off to the sideline. He's gained over 1,000 yards this season for the New Jersey Generals.
One of the few tandems out of the same backfield ever to do that, Walker and Carthen. 3rd down and 6. Sipe with time. Oh boy, that could have gone either way. Clarence Collins down the middle. Scott Warner coming for the ball and collision.
Very big collision. Scott Warner was going for the interception. You're not going to see him in the picture until the ball is thrown. Ryan gets it up in the air. I don't know if you saw him right there. Now, can you imagine what would have happened to Clarence had Scott gone for the hit as opposed to the interception? He might be picking up the pieces today.
Pressure on, but Grupp gets it out and gets a pretty good kick out of it. Garcia Lane. Oh, look at him. One man. Number 27 saved the touchdown, Gregory Johnson.
No blocking. Plenty of room between Garcia Lane and the coverage team. There's a fight, Keith, on the field. I don't know what's causing this. But tempers flared also. In the first game between these two people, Jim LeClaire and Irv Eatman at one time were going at it in the first ball game.
Looked like Mike Williams and Jonathan Sutton got in it for one pair.
Let's take a look. Garcia Lane takes this. He has plenty of room between he and the coverage team, but no blockers. He starts to the outside, finds a hole, and from there on, it's just running straight down the field in improvisational running. He just picks his way for 25 yards and great field position for the Philadelphia Stars.
Ball is on the New Jersey 46. Give it to Brian Thomas. And Thomas surges down to about the 44. And there's some tempers. There's some tempers. Dave Riley getting into it now. And,
well, Dave Riley had number 96, James Lockett, blocked and pinned down to the ground on that play. Then number 71, Tom Woodland, came over and was kind of pulling at Riley, trying to get him off the pile. I said, wait a minute, what are you doing laying on top of him in somewhat of an aggressive manner? And then Riley got up and said, I don't care who you are. I can block anybody I want to. Gave him a little shove. And, of course, Woodland says, I'm not going to take it. Then you get the pushing and shoving. Everybody jumps in on it, wants a piece of the action.
Earl Sorgan trying to calm everybody down now so we can play football and instead of having a street fight. 10:26 to go in the first half. Second down and about 10 after that play and the loss. And Fusina gives to Brian Thomas. Penalty flag on the field on the far sidelines as Thomas gets inside the 40 to the 39 of New Jersey. But let's see about the penalty.
It's against Philadelphia. I can tell by the reaction of Dunnick and Eaton.
My goodness. That's 6 penalties.
Someone, I think, probably lined up outside, Keith. I didn't see anyone jump.
No, I didn't either.
Offside. Number 80, offense.
Yep.
Tim Dunnick.
Still second down.
So it'll be second down at about 15. And every one of those penalties have taken away either a big play or a first down. That particular moment wiped out an 8-yard pickup. As the ball comes back to the Philadelphia side of the field on the 49. 10 minutes to go in the first half. We still haven't seen Kelvin Bryant. You've seen it to throw it. Goes to the short man, Dunnick, the big tight end. And he muscles his way inside the 40. He's going to be a yard and a half short of the first down. Well, let's check in with Don Tollefson and see if he's got an idea what's caused this flare of temper.
Keith, I talked to a couple of people along the Jersey Generals bench. They mentioned a couple of things. Mike Williams, number 29, who was involved heavily in one of the skirmishes, has been complaining all day that he's being held. He decided to take things in his own hands, apparently. The other two reasons the players on this bench cite for the fights, number one, there were a lot of pushing and shoving matches in the last meeting, and the next time these two teams meet will probably be in the playoffs. So there's a little revenge from the last time. They also want to leave a calling card, if you will, for the next time they meet, which will most likely be in less than a week in the playoffs. These two teams don't like each other, guys.
They might run them through security before they let them in the stadium if they play again.
I don't know about calling cards. A lot of defensive backs left them in my locker.
The U.S. Olympic track and field trials live at 9, 8 Central. It'll be taped out on the West Coast out of Los Angeles Coliseum. As we get down to the final hours of the track and field trials for men and women, you'll be seeing the men's 1500 featuring Sidney Marie and Steve Scott. You'll see Meredith Decker in the women's 1500. You'll see the high jumping and Carol Lewis, sister of Carl, in the women's long jump. And she has the potential, enormous potential in that particular event. Short 3 for Philadelphia. Just inside the New Jersey 39. They go to Thomas. And behind the offensive line surge is near the 35. Now, if the man coming in from the far sidelines for the spot puts his foot down there and they put the ball there, it's going to be a first down for Philadelphia, and it looks like it is. .33 now in the Michigan-Chicago game. Bojovich, 39 yards. And Washington, New Orleans are even. You got to remember now that Michigan and Houston, Michigan beat Houston twice this year. 31-28 overtime, 52-34. It looks like they'll be going to Los Angeles. This is Fusina rolling out. Slides underneath Jim LeClaire and picks up about 9 yards. That's a perfect example of what the hook slide can save your neck.
Well, it can save your neck, but he got up a little hot too, because once he went down, there were two people that came in on the tackle that really tried to inflict a good shot on him, inflict a little pain, and he popped right up and ran to the nearest official, trying to draw a penalty from it. Play action, he has the option to pass or run, and he just opts to run. Right there, he's crunched. And he gets up right away, and he looks for the official. He's crunched by Jim LeClaire and Mike Williams.
Give him 8 yards, second down 2. This is Brian Thomas behind Comiskey. Gets around the corner and gets the first down near the New Jersey 20. Now the Philadelphia offensive people are starting to play with a little more fervor.
Zest.
Enthusiasm. Anger.
Brian Thomas, the third all-time leading rusher at the University of Pittsburgh. Number 1, Tony Dorsett.
Ball is on the New Jersey 20. First down for the Stars. New Jersey leading 3-0. 7.5 minutes to play in the first half. Busina back, looks for Collier, goes for Collier, intercepted by Mike Williams. Busina trying to hit Collier on a quick one. Willie couldn't get to it. Williams was standing right there. And now you've got a penalty flag thrown, and it's going to be thrown against Irv Eatman, I believe. I know what Irv did out here in the open field. He was out there with a couple of generals. And so I think that little moment of temper may cost Philadelphia here.
Personal foul. They'll get the yards produced by the interception return.
Plus the personal foul penalty.
The penalty.
That's called a whack upside the head.
Kicking the man while he's down.
I would imagine Jim Morrow will be orating in halftime.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness, number 75 of the passing team. First down. Timeout.
The timeout comes at 7:23 to play in the first half. Philadelphia was down knocking on the door. They give it up on the interception, and New Jersey leads.
Well, there's Irv Eatman. He's sitting there on the sideline, very disappointed with himself.
He's still a little hot.
Yeah, you see him right there in the bottom of the picture. He's blocking there against Lockett, number 96. He just falls off, hits him on the side of the head, throws him to the ground. I would not like to have Irv mad at me.
I'm not that gum sure I won't Lockett mad at me. Either one of them. I wouldn't want to be in the same neighborhood where those two big elephants get after each other. Two big, strong men. New Jersey first down, 30-yard line. Give it to Walker. Herschel in the middle, 2 yards. Total offense so far, New Jersey 42 yards, Philadelphia 166. But Philadelphia has had 7 penalties, 1 fumble, 1 interception, and 1 sack.
Michigan Panthers are behind Chicago by 3 again. And a lot of that 166 yards, Keith, they gained twice because of those penalties. They gained it once, backed them up, and they gained the same 5 yards. You know? It's in the land war. It's about scoring points.
Keep it up at that pace. That's called getting whooped, too. Side pass, Knight. Knight, hard to bring down. Finally, they wrestle him down on the 44 of Philadelphia. John Bunning finally got him down.
We haven't been able to see a lot of Danny Knight throughout the year because he's been hampered with so many injuries. But now he seems to be playing very well. A couple of times you've seen him catch passes right here. He'll catch this one in stride. Won't be slowed down. He gets hit there by Lust, stays up. 59, that's Bunning who has a shot at him. He has another shot, grabs him by the shoelaces, and finally brings him down. It's a good, solid run. He didn't pick up a lot of yards because he was running from sideline to sideline.
44-yard line of Philadelphia. First down for the Generals. Sipe still got it. Goes big for Walker, and it is knocked down by Garcia Lane. Walker was hiding on the sidelines and then took off, and he could not get to the ball, and Garcia had a shot at the interception.
Garcia Lane looked like he was going up for an Olympic spike that time instead of a catch. He went up in the air with just a little bit off balance, coming down on his back a little bit, and just knocked at the ball more than tried to catch it that time.
You don't think the coach is going to have something to say at halftime?
Well, he'll have a lot to say, but right now they're only behind by 3 points with all their mistakes. But New Jersey has the ball and are driving.
And second down 10, Sipe back. again almost picked off by Garcia Lane as Clarence Collins had come down, cut back to the ball, and lost his footing. So it'll be 3rd down and 10.
Well, it rained just for a little bit, Keith, and it's stopped pretty much now, but there are going to be a few wet spots on the field. You've got to make sure you have your body under control, your feet down in good position. Lower your center of gravity if you're going to stop on the dime and turn back to the football. Clarence tried it, but just lost his footing and was almost able to get back up and make the catch. Wouldn't be surprised to see Philadelphia blitz this time around.
Well, they got offside. Sipe has a free play, goes short to Walker. Herschel still working with it.
He won't need it because that's a 1st down.
And it's on the 33 of Philadelphia, so they will disdain the offside call, I'm sure, and take the play.
Offside, defense, penalty decline, 1st down.
Well, that penalty won't count against them as they didn't take it. But I think it certainly had an effect on the attitude and the play of the defensive team on that last drive, on that last play.
Philadelphia, of course, the top-ranking defensive team in the Eastern Conference.
They could lose this ball game based on the stats we have so far and still be the #1 defensive
That's right.
team.
That's right. It's not the defense that's hurting them, it's their mistakes. Carson. Big hole, 8 yards. Howard, Bunny, the tackle.
Well, Bunny made the tackle. He was running out of the grasp of Glenn Howard in that play. Carson just lowers his head, runs.
Comes Timmy White into the ball game now. Speedster, wide receiver.
USC. Was with the LA Express. They released him and he was picked up by the Generals.
Tampa Bay's finally scored in that ball game in the 2nd quarter. He's as bad as O.J. Always getting those alma mater pups in there.
Well, you mentioned Timmy White. I just called the school he's from.
2nd down and 2. And that's close to the 1st down. Carthen out of Arkansas State. Played tight end in college. Close to the 1st down. Another tight end making a lot of noise as a running back in the USFL, of course, is Todd Fowler at Houston.
Yes. Broke his teammate's record. Sam Harrell had the record for the most yards rushing in a game of 200. Then he came on and ran for 208.
Oh, it's close.
From here, it looks like a 1st down. And down there, too. Brian Sipe felt jinxed for a long time, I think, bringing the Cleveland team that he played for so many years in the Three River Stadiums. He had never won a game there as a quarterback of that team, and its only victory at Three River Stadium came this year when the New Jersey Generals defeated the Pittsburgh Maulers.
The ball is sitting square on the 23 at 4.5 minutes to go. New Jersey trying to get in there for a touchdown. They lead 3-0. Over a mistake-prone Philadelphia Stars unit in this 1st half. This is Walker looking for someplace to go, and he never really had a chance.
Well, Maurice Coughlin came out, and his responsibility was blocking the outside linebacker, John Bunning, number 59. But John just took on the block, dissipated the force of it by giving a little ground, stepped inside, and made the stop on Herschel Walker.
Loss of 3, 2nd down and 13.
John Bunning, I saw him out here the other day for practice, and I'll tell you, tape and baling wire, holding that man together.
Walker is the man in motion, coming out now as a wide receiver and setting near the sideline. And sight back goes for Walker. And the pass is incomplete. Garcia Lane had fallen down, but the ball was nowhere near Herschel. If the pass had been a little more accurate, or maybe Herschel had turned it inside a little bit, I don't really know whose fault it was, whether it was Sipes or Walker's.
It was Brian Sipes' fault on that one. Herschel Walker running down the outside, He gets beyond Garcia Lane. If the ball is all the way out to the sideline, he's got a shot at it. The ball was short, thrown well inside of where Herschel was. The only person who had a chance was Garcia Lane.
He was on his back.
Well, he fell on his back trying to cut inside to pick it off. Couldn't get his body turned around in time.
3rd down and 13.
I heard a whistle blow early.
Clock ran out. 30-second clock ran out.
Delay a game. Number 17, offense.
Took a long time in the huddle to get the play in. Then call looked like he checked off at the line of scrimmage, and just as the 0 came up, he got his snap, but they ruled it too late. Oh, losing is for the birds, huh? I would agree with that. Yep. Rain has stopped. Had a little light shower, but now it's drying up.
Steaming up.
Yeah. 3rd down and 18. Ball back on the 31. Kugler almost had sight. Pass is complete, but it is well short of the first down as Carthen is wrestled down by Sam Mills just short of the 20-yard line.
Now they backed up the secondary to make sure that they didn't get the long pass for the first down.
Ruzek is in for a field goal try out of Grupp's hole now. They'll put the tee down at the, well, it's closer to the 28 than it is the 27, but it'll go in the books as a 37-yard field goal try. You take the forward marker, which in this instance would be the 27. He hit a 47-yarder to give New Jersey a 3-0 lead. He's got a lot of leg on this one, and he's got another one. So he's kicked them 47 and 37. And the New Jersey Generals lead the Philadelphia Stars 6-0 with 2 minutes and 31 seconds to play in the first half of this final game of the second regular season. And the sitting on a 6-0 lead now. Danny Knight, who had a hand in setting up that last field goal opportunity. And Ruzek ready to kick it off to Mark McCants with 2 minutes and 31 seconds to play in the first half. 6-0 Generals. Philadelphia has not been shut out in the first half of play this season. But they better hustle, or they're going to get it today. It is not an award-winning first half for either team. From the goal line, McCants to the 20.
And there, his run is promptly terminated.
Each Philadelphia possession is ended in this way. Missed field goal, punt after a penalty, fumble, and interception. John Miller, Mississippi State, the hot man for the New Jersey Generals. He's running unimpeded down the field. Now starts to work his way through the blocking. And Wacko.
David Riley, number 35. Making the catch for about 5 yards. Chuck Fusina has his team running a hurry-up offense. They'll get 2 plays called in the huddle.
Got to hit the 2-minute warning, stopping the clock. So they'll have a timeout here and time to talk and do some plotting for the next 2 minutes of play, with New Jersey on top 6-0. The rain has stopped, and Philadelphia with the football, looking at second down and a long 4 just short of their own 26-yard line, trailing 6-0 in the ball game. Our congratulations to the Jacksonville Bulls. They had a pretty good first year, 6-12 record, but they averaged 46,730 per ball game for a new USFL average attendance record. As Fusina's pass is down the middle, and the pass is good to Willie Collier. And Collier coming back upfield, trying to 1, pick up some help, and 2, find an opening. He yielded a little bit of yardage that time. They mark him just over the 45, but it's first down. And remember, the clock stops as the chains are moved on each first down, and Philadelphia ready to go to work now. Hurry up, just over the 45. Fusina back. Ball is batted down at the line of scrimmage. Jim Byrne reached up and slapped it aside. He had Collier crossing in a short zone, and Willie had a lot of daylight.
He sure did. play before that, he had Scott Fitzke coming across the short zone. He wasn't open, but he watched him go across. Then it brought the look off to Fitzke, made the secondary spread apart a little bit more than Willie Collier came around behind that over the middle for the catch. He tried to do the same thing in reverse. Ball was batted down.
Stars have only one timeout remaining with 1:45 to go in the first half now. Second down and 10 from their own 45. Throws it to David O'Reilly, and O'Reilly's got a first down as he gets over the 45 of New Jersey. LeClaire and Joyce tried to stop him, but Riley had enough momentum and enough leverage to pick up the first down.
53 Bob Leopold was there, and he actually drugged Leopold and Joyce.
Dragged.
He drugged him. He might have drugged him before the game. He dragged him for the first time.
There, look at Riley. LeClaire had a hold of him, and Riley just slipped right underneath LeClaire and went down and picked up a first down. And now we've got a Philadelphia man, Riley, hurt. When he was put down on the ground, he came down on the ball. The ball came squirting loose. So he may have been deflated. But watch now as LeClaire literally has him.
Riley makes a catch there. LeClaire has him, but he just slips away, ducks underneath his grab.
Ooh, that's a pretty good lick, isn't it?
Yeah, he's just bounced around by first Joyce, then by Leopold. So they came back. Then John Preston, 25, came over. So he dragged them for 5 yards. They came back and took him out of the ball game with a couple of good shots. I appreciate that, Mr. Jackson.
I used to do it all the time.
No, I don't like to get out of flush. You want to go rows or diagonal? Chuck? Let's go diagonal. Let's go.
Well, your guess is as good as mine.
They said something about Scott, so that would mean Fitzke. He's number 81. Brian Thomas is going to go out now. Tell you one thing, Jim Morris stuck to his guns. He's kept Kelvin Bryant on the sideline.
Well, Kelvin was fined $1,000 for being late. Their normal fine is $50. So he's been late a couple of times.
It's a first down at the New Jersey 31. Over the middle, the pass is good. It is short of the first down. Number 23, Kerry Justin, gets Scott Fitzke down the middle. Philadelphia now working with no more timeouts, and the clock showing 1:10. Injury timeout, incidentally, in the last 2 minutes is a charged timeout.
Frank Mathias grabbed Fitzke for a second there.
Down he goes, caught from behind by Freddie Gilbert. Freddie Gilbert, the rookie out of Georgia, and now Irv Eatman and Frank Mathias is squaring off.
And in this corner from Holy Cross, a rookie, number 75, Frank Mathias versus number 75, a second-year veteran from UCLA. Irv Eatman jumped back into his best boxer's position and was ready to duke it out one-on-one.
Hey, boys. On third down and 11, Fusina's pass is good to Fitzke. Cannot get the first down.
Oh, wait a minute. Now we're starting to see some things that are just really uncalled for. Number 25, John Preston, that time, Irv Eatman was on the ground, stepped right into Irv's chest while he was lying on the ground. Now that is uncalled for.
4th and 2, and they're going. Fusina's pass incomplete, knocked away. Fitzke screaming for interference, and he won't get it.
I don't blame him. I do not blame him. Kerry Justin, before he knocked the ball away, came across the top, put a hand on his shoulder, then knocked the ball away. We'll take a look at it on the replay. Scott Fitzke coming down. He'll turn around right there, and then watch Justin. His hand goes up right there on the back.
That's
then
clean.
He comes around the front.
That's clean.
You think it's clean?
Sure.
All right, put him up. You and I. Let's go. He's got a chance to make the catch here. Justin, when he puts his hand on his back like that, Keith, is able to maintain his own balance and body control in the air, which allows him to knock the ball away.
Philadelphia with no timeouts remaining now. It's simply an academic factor of New Jersey running out the clock. They're on their way to the locker room. So we've played a half of football, and the New Jersey Generals have shut out the Philadelphia Stars in the first half for the first time this season. They lead at halftime by a score of 6-0. So do we have a jinx situation here? We'll see.